this is Natalie with a drawing tutorial on how to draw fur in Photoshop. So let's get to it. Basically, first what I do is I choose the base colour. In this case for Warwick it will be a greyish blue. So I choose the colour that I want until I'm happy, and I will start filling in with a hard brush on 100% opacity over the basic lines, with long clean strokes around the lines, and then just filling it in all one colour to start with. I'm using Photoshop CS4 and the Wacom Bamboo Pen graphics tablet. And just fill in all those lines. Once you've done that, you start with going around the edges in a darker line. You don't have to make it perfect because we will be using the smudge tool. So you just want to basically make the shadows stand out. So with a darker line at first, you go around the edges. Make sure any parts that you want really dark are really dark, and any parts that you want kept light, you go really light. That's to create contrast. Don't be afraid to go light and dark. So I'm creating the lines for the shadows now around the head. The point of light, the source, is the moon, and that's above him to the left of the picture. So I'm adding in the shadows now. It has to be quite rough really, you don't have to make it perfect because, like I said, we will be smudging. Just adding in basic shadows around the eyebrows, just in the general area. And here we start smudging. So always smudge in the direction of the fur when drawing fur. Smudge in the direction of the fur and smudge through it so that you get the light and the dark all in one stroke, and it gives it a really great depth and good contrast as well. I'm just smudging up into the eyebrows now, and then we'll start on the face. Smudging around the ears and around the head just to give it that furry look. You've really got to work it when you're smudging, and I use the smudge brush on about 60%. When I'm doing fur I use a hard brush, so to get a clean feel. Now I will be adding shadows around the face to highlight the facial features. Just do it really rough, just really lay down the colour of the shadow that you want. As much as you think is right. Always remember your light source and remember where the shadows will appear on the character. This technique can also be used with things like grass, which I do use in the final image. The video for this can also be found on my channel. So I'm just really smudging, really quick, long strokes all the way through all of the different colours. Smudging over the eyebrow there to give it some more depth, so the fur would be in front. Longer smudges for longer fur, shorter smudges for shorter fur. Just really working it round. You want it to look as realistic as possible. So you just bringing the shadows in, smudging the shadows out. And now what I'm doing is adding deeper shadows, and then I'll be highlighting. So to add more contrast, add deeper shadows and shadows in other areas, and really smudge. I can't stress that enough when doing fur. I also go back and do the eyebrows a little bit more, just here, just layering over the shadows that I've done on the face, always in the direction that the fur is going. You can't sketch when you're smudging really, you can't do sketchy little strokes, you have to do long, clean strokes all the way through all the colours so that you get all of the colours and it will look more realistic. Now I'm adding highlights, so I choose the base colour again, and then I'm adding some shadow onto the eyebrow here, but then you choose the base colour and choose a lighter version of it, so a lighter shade of your base colour, and just go over where you think that the highlights would be based on your light source. And you want different shades so that when you come to smudge it, it will have all of those different shades within it. Adding shade to the nose, to the cheek, to the top of the ears, and to the top of the head. That's where my light source is faced, so that's where the highlights on his fur would be. I don't want to make the highlights too bright on him because it would stand out a bit too much, but you just smudge them in and it just gives it that extra bit of depth, extra bit of contrast, just to say that the light source is there and make it look a little bit more realistic. So you just got to smudge it in, work it through. As you did with the shadows, it's the same technique, and still the smudge brush will only be on 60%. And with use of a thin brush, I think I was using size 5 for this one, so the fur will be very thin. But this is what it should end up looking like really. This is with my guidelines. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and there will be much more like this coming up.